Last night's Leafs game was a game of downs and ups, and I really mean downs for the most part, with ups just coming at the end only to go back down again. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria and I talk all things Toronto sports, hockey, baseball, all that stuff. You know the drill by now. And throughout December, I'm doing the 12 days of holiday hockey where I'm talking all things festive, hockey related, and I had to, for today's video, just talk about last night's game on, what was last night's date? The 14th of December against Columbus, which I think is going to become one of the memorable games of this season. Like, I think this is one that we're going to look back at and be like, oh yeah, remember that happened. It was certainly an interesting event, and there were fans booing the team. You know, they were 5-0 down in this game. So when they were 4-0 down and 5-0 down, the fans were booing, and it's expensive to get to a Leafs game. It's difficult to get to a Leafs game. I get it, you know. I understand. I know some people don't like people booing players. I know some people do boo the players. That's not what today's topic of conversation is, but the Leafs have a very passionate fan base, and no matter what you think of Leafs fans, I feel like that's undeniable. So it tells you a lot when they're so frustrated with them that that's their response. Now, before we even got into the game last night, I had very low expectations. I didn't expect them to win this game. The schedule has been so busy, which I'm well aware of, and so is my Fitbit sleep score because I am sleep deprived, very much so. So the schedule has been very, very busy. Such a weird thing because the week, like last week, there was like no games pretty much, and then this week there's been so many. It just seems very unbalanced. NHL scheduling, what's going on there? I'd love to know. But even more so than the very busy schedule is the illness which is running rampant through the team right now. Obviously, there's been players out. We know that players are definitely playing ill with what I don't think anyone knows for certain. I think it's been described as like a flu-like type thing, which symptoms vary so much with that, you know, I don't know, but clearly they're not well, and I feel like watching them last night, you could tell they weren't well. Now, I know the Leafs are not good all of the time, and they definitely have games which are frustrating to watch, but I feel like in general this season, you know, you haven't watched them and thought, wow, they're playing really badly for most of the game, whereas last night, that definitely was the case. But my expectations were low. We knew the team was ill. We knew that the schedule had been really busy and they've had back-to-backs this week, and, you know, athletes have their limits, especially playing at that level. And also, the Leafs just have a habit of playing down to opponents sometimes, and Columbus is definitely one of the teams that they're most guilty of that with. So I don't know if I was just so tired from staying up so many nights this week, but I went into the game last night just thinking, if they get a point from this, if they take this to overtime, I'm going to be so happy. I also will not lie, I did sleep through part of the game last night. I saw the majority of it, and I saw like everything that was important to see. But did I sleep through a bit of the game last night? Yes, I did, because I've had a very busy week at work and I had a long work day yesterday in the office. So then to stay up until 3 a.m. as many times as I have this week, yeah, it was going to have its limits. So I did miss a bit of it, but I did see the majority of it, which I'm actually quite impressed at. Put your phone on silent, Victoria. And they play again tomorrow night, so tonight I'm resting up. But anyway, we're having a little chat about the game, my thoughts on the game, and that's today's video, because even though it's not Christmas hockey, it's basically Christmas time, and I'm not prepared for it to be Christmas yet because I have not finished Christmas shopping. So anyway, my expectations were low. Right enough, Patrick Laine scores 6 minutes into the game, and then the first period ended 2-0, which it was like, meh. Sammy was not playing particularly well at all. Another piece of adversity, obviously, losing Wall is like a serious loss for the Leafs right now, because he was the glue holding that team together, and he's not playing just now, obviously, because he's injured. And Samsonov was just having one of those games where he just looked really unsettled, didn't look very kind of composed, and then I think that does sort of echo into the rest of the team. I really think a lot of team, like, oh my god, I can't talk today. I really think a lot of the way that a team plays is based around how much they trust their goalie, because that probably influences the way that you play. And I think that Wall's very calm, composed nature in games is part of the reason that the rest of the team plays so well around him sometimes. Whereas Samsonov last night, I just didn't feel like was on his A game, and I'm not pinning the blame on him because there were a lot of guys on that team last night who were not playing well, whether it be to illness, exhaustion, or just not playing well, I don't know. But there were a lot of other guys, and I did see people blaming Samsonov, and while he played a part in that loss last night, it was not only his fault. Absolutely not. The fact that nobody scored for the Leafs until the last period alone tells you that it was not only his fault, because if they weren't scoring, they can't win. Then by the end of the second period, they're 5-0 down, and I seriously was thinking, do I just go to bed? And people on Twitter even said, just go to bed, just go to bed. I did think about it, but the Leafs have a habit of, doing things you don't expect them to do. So I thought I'd better not, and wow, am I glad that I didn't. Nylander scores first, and I'm just like, yeah, they're not getting shut out. Honestly, that was a small victory at that point. Then Marner scores, and then McCabe scores, and we've seen Leafs comebacks, and in particular, we have seen a comeback from 3-0 down against Columbus in the past. So I'm like, maybe just. And then Austin, he scores at 18:45 and 19:15, and the game goes to overtime, which I couldn't believe, and I was just happy that, to get something from a game like that, because to come from 5-0 down to that, honestly, full credit, especially for a team that I don't feel was in the best of positions last night. And don't get me wrong, going 5-0 down is inexcusable, but I can understand why they didn't play well last night, and I'm quite forgiving of that. So of course the game goes to overtime, and Kent Johnson scores overtime winner for Columbus, and that's that. It's game over. But was I too mad about it? No, honestly. Would I have loved them to win, especially after that? Yeah, and did it feel like a bit of a blow coming back from that only to lose anyway? Yeah, but at the same time, taking something from a game where you played that poorly is impressive in itself, and I really like the fact that the Leafs are showing that sort of comeback resilience now, rather than being the team who are up 4-1 and then lose it. They've definitely got better at pulling themselves back in that third period, and yeah, I thought it was great in a way, not great in other ways. It was definitely a strange game, and we go again tomorrow against Pittsburgh. So that's all for today. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Were you watching the game? Were you getting as frustrated as me at the game? Probably. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back soon with more Toronto sports chats from across the pond. Bye guys.